All right, here we are back again. Another episode of Excellent Adventures. I'm your host, Reec Swiney. We have a special guest on the line coming by way of Kentucky, all the way from Kentucky. We have Jen Short of Blacksheep Farm. She also has a consignment store. She's probably the most fashionable person we've had on the show so far. Of course, we're going to talk about everything that has to do with you, your farm, your business, and everything in between. And like you said, when we first jumped on Blacksheep, BlackYard, it just makes so much sense.
That's right. Well, one small correction. I don't own the consignment shop, but we do
Okay.
have we're a wedding and event venue here. So
Yes, I
we
saw that.
have a variety of things that go on here. Everything from, outdoor weddings to this weekend, we've got a consignment shop coming that's owned by another small business. It's a mobile boutique. So they're actually going to come park on the farm. We've got the winery coming out. So you kind of never know what's going to be going on here.
I love that. That was like my dream thing at first, having enough acreage to have a petting zoo for one. I want to keep introducing kids to the animals. Right now, we take them to schools, but have a petting zoo on property and then have enough room to do events and stuff like that.
Yes, it has been quite an adventure and kind of a long one in the making, but we're not quite where we want to be just yet, but we're getting there.
All right, we're going to get into history in 1 second. I do have to ask you the question we ask everyone. What was your old cluck moment? What was that moment you were like, oh, I am a chicken mama now?
Well, we got chickens the week before COVID. So,
Mm,
there was like some little rumblings on the news, but we're like, oh, we're good. That's not going to happen here. And it had always been part of the plan to get chickens. But we started probably with a few more than we meant to, plus a couple of ducks. And you know about ducks. They are not the same as raising baby chickens. They are
they are
messy.
not.
We learned a lot of things really quickly. And then that really kind of went from, okay, well, now we're working from home. So maybe we can add a few more animals. And now I think we're up to like 150. We've got chickens, turkeys, ducks, goats, sheep, a cow, and honeybees.
Good Lord.
I know.
I love it. You're living a dream. So is this your, I know you have the event planning business, I mean, the event space, right? And
Mhm.
you said up in the beginning you were working from home. So is this what it is now? This is the full-time situation?
I wish that it was. We are still working full time jobs. That's what pays the bills. And then the farm stuff helps to kind of make improvements around the farm and helps us care for the animals. Eventually, I would love to just be able to do something on the farm full time, whether that's events or farm education or bringing families out for farm tours. Not just the weddings. That's kind of the bread and butter of the
Mhm.
event business. But we just love getting to share this farm and our incredible animals with guests when they come out. We're from the city. We did not grow up in this. It was kind of like a pipe dream that someday maybe we'll have a farm. And it just kind of went from like, well, let's just see what's out there available. We found an old farmhouse on Craigslist of all places and
Wow.
drove out to just kind of take a look. Fell in love. We saw several other farms, but this is the one we kept coming back to. So we spent about a year getting it fixed up and livable. It was in really rough shape. It had been in a family for several generations, and then it kind of fell into disuse. So fixed up the farmhouse, started coming out on the weekends and just kind of hanging out in a beautiful space. We weren't really living here. And then when COVID happened and the chickens happened and working from home happened, it all just kind of went from there. We sold our house in the city and moved here full time.
That is an incredible, that's an excellent adventure.
It has been. It definitely has been. So we've been really lucky to continue to be able to work from home. So that kind of allows us to do all the things we do. I don't know how we would possibly take care of all these animals if I also had to commute to and from the office. So really grateful for that.
I love that. Do you remember how many chickens you started with?
I think we started with 12
Okay. And now you're
and
up to
12 chickens
150.
and two ducks. Yes.
12 chickens and two ducks. Now you're at 150 animals. I love it.
Yes.
What was the first taste of chicken math?
Um, well, honestly, probably that very first time because we thought, well, maybe we'll start with a couple. And I don't know how it is in Georgia, but in Kentucky, you have to buy at least six.
Yeah,
So
it's
you're
basically
like,
the same.
well, if I'm buying six, what? Let me just get two packages. And so it seemed, they start out so small, and you
Mhm.
just don't know how quickly that's going to grow. And then Of course, we wanted to really have robust color selection. So I've kind of added chickens based on the color eggs that they lay. Then I got some really cool packaging. People kind of go crazy about our packaging. It's really unique. We hand stamp all of our cartons. Everything's, recycled carton. Just, kind of went from like, well, now we've got these chickens, but they just lay brown eggs. So then we need the Easter eggers and we need the Marians. And it just grew from there.
I love the way you put that. We needed a robust color selection. I'm gonna start saying that, and it'll give me an excuse to get more birds.
Well, and the ones that lay the really unique colors are not necessarily like the best layers.
Yeah.
So, they aren't, if you're looking at it from like a financial standpoint, it's probably not the best way to go. Buying expensive cartons that I buy is probably not the most financially sound way to go either, but it sets us apart. We are in a rural area. So in our farmers market, there's many wonderful, chicken mamas out there that have their own thing going, but that kind of sets us apart.
It does. You guys have a wonderful way to present things, and we really appreciate it. And it comes through really well on pictures, isn't always the case. So it's pretty cool. Definitely cool.
Yeah.
I love it. I want to ask about the farmers market. Like, how did you get to start getting involved in that? And I know here, like, we have to take a candling class in order to sell. Here, is there any specific things you guys had to do in Kentucky in order to be part of farmers market?
Yeah, and I think it probably is not necessarily Kentucky, but more kind of depending on your market and your county. So our extension office is heavily involved in our market. They kind of set it up, and now it's run. We've grown enough that it is operated by a board, and we're all members of the general membership. So we do have to have a lot of like home-based. Trying to think of all my class names that I've taken now. Home-based processing, like if I want to sell baked goods and things like that, which I do sometimes. There's micro processing. We have Kentucky Proud certification, which is like an application process with the state. Our honey is Kentucky certified honey and Kentucky Proud, so there's some additional steps we had to take for that. We all have to have insurance. We have to follow all of the laws about, all of our eggs have to be washed, refrigerated, unused cartons. So when I say recycled, I mean recycled fibers, not recycled cartons.
I got you.
So yeah, there's quite a lot of regulations around that. And then our particular farmers market is very local. You have to be within a 50-mile radius to be a part of that market. So, there are other markets that I've kind of looked into that will allow you to buy from other places or even buy bulk and call it your own. So when you come to the Pendleton County Farmers Market, you are getting authentic, local, real family farms producing all of those things.
I love that. That makes so much sense.
Yeah, absolutely. It's, you get to know your farmers, know your food, and really you're meeting the people that are truly raising, we haven't had the best luck with crops here. That's to come. But, just getting to meet the people that are actually handling the animals and preparing, picking the vegetables, planting the things like that. There's some real magic that happens there at the farmers market when you're meeting the people that are growing the things you're going to serve to your family.
It does. It gives it that family feel, even though we may not be related. We kind of have similar stories and just can trade information. And then the people coming to buy, you kind of get more appreciation for what you're purchasing.
Absolutely. And our farmers market is kind of like a social scene. We came here as outsiders, didn't know a soul here. We're from about an hour north. So we came to a small town, we are the Blacksheep. So, we kind of started out as these Blacksheep outsiders.
Gotcha.
So in order to kind of meet our community, getting involved in the farmers market, getting involved in our local tourism council, which is just about, sharing our community with outsiders. That's really how we kind of made friends and made connections. And now we're part of this incredible network of farmers that really, like, when I lived in the city, if I needed something, I probably couldn't have told you my next door neighbor's name, to be honest.
I understand.
Here, now we say neighbor, I might mean the family that lives 8 miles up the road from me. But when I'll call my neighbor and get some help, they show up, they help you, they do, you trade off favors. I might need, for example, I had surgery last year and people literally dropped off like crock pots of homemade chicken noodle soup. Wow. And, really just kind of take care of each other in a way that our city culture just did not. You're so separate there, and here people really learn to rely on each other. So we, kind of immersed ourselves in the community by joining these organizations and just making friends. But then through that process, we've also been able to make a difference in our community. So we're no longer the outsiders. We're going to still keep calling ourselves Black Sheep, but we're probably not that much anymore.
No need to ask you how you got the name. Now we know where the name came from.
Well,
That's
it
an
was
incredible story.
kind of a joke name at first, I guess. We toyed around with Fiasco Farm, and I thought nobody's going to want to get married at Fiasco Farm. So we kind of relied on, we
Good
joked.
call. Great call.
Right. My partner and I were both like kind of the black sheep of our family for different reasons. And just, we started this in our 30s. Most people do not wake up one day and go, I'm going to be a farmer in my 30s, even though I have no idea what I'm doing. I've never lived in the country. And so we were just black sheep in several different ways. And the name was cemented one day when one of the former family members that used to live here, I think it was one of the grandsons or great grandsons, stopped by to meet us and see the house and, just kind of thank us for taking care of the house. And he told us some family stories, and he said, "You're not the first black sheep that have ever lived here." And we're like, "That's it.
That's it.
That was the one." So
I love that, man. I love when things come kind of full circle.
mm-hmm.
I do want to talk about something you mentioned because I kind of experienced the same thing, and especially online. Like I work in radio, regular life, right? And entertainment. It's a lot of people, right? But everybody seems to be disconnected. In this space with the animals and agriculture, I can literally put up a problem on my social media and get 1,000 solutions, viable solutions. And then the tone of the solution is positive, it's helpful.
Mm-hmm.
I've been meeting people that don't look like me, don't act like me, don't come from the same walks of life. Everybody seems to be very helpful. And it just is an ode to what you just said. Like it's a direct comparison to what you said. Like this lifestyle, it seems to be so much more peaceful in many ways.
It is. And I think you really kind of have to approach it. Of course, we researched things, we read books, we joined online forums and Facebook groups and all of the things that you do when you're starting out. And of course, you start out with like a Chicken 101 group, and then you move on to ducks and all the different groups. But you've got to come into this with a sense of, like, I don't know everything. I can't possibly learn everything. I've got to be willing to, hear different ways of doing things. And then I think as you gain a little bit of experience, you start to learn what works for you. You ask 12 people about beekeeping, you will get 12 different answers for every question that you ask. Doesn't mean they're wrong, but you've got to adopt what fits your ways
What
of
makes
thinking.
sense, yeah.
We choose not to eat our animals. My partner's a vegetarian. I'm not. I buy my meat from farmers that I know and trust that love and respect their animals. I just choose not to eat my own. They're all pets.
Mm-hmm. You name them, you can't eat them.
That's true. That's true. We try to make them contribute to the farm a little bit with, whether it's selling the eggs or meeting kids and doing photography with them or whatever. But
there you go. Mowing the grass if it's a golden sheep.
That's true. That's true. I don't mow a lot of grass anymore. I do appreciate that. But, just kind of come into the community with this idea of, we've got to rely on each other to learn from each other. And as I've learned things, I've been able to actually pass some of that knowledge on and help other people. I just had a friend call who, honestly, they're more experienced goat owners, mm-hmm. but we maybe are a little bit more experienced in kidding. And so this year we had some babies. And I had one mama that didn't release her placenta within, the time that you're supposed to see it come out. So we jumped on Facebook. What do you do? And we find this solution of, you tie a wet rag, clean wet rag to the end of the placenta, and the weight of it helps to pull it gently. It worked instantly for mine. So when my friend called me and said, "Have you ever had this happen?" Yes, I have. And here's what worked. Just kind of sharing that knowledge and passing it on. We joined some very natural beekeeping groups. And I will say my partner is the beekeeper than I am. I like the honey part, not the bee so much. But, you learn a lot of different things. And that I'm not going to say there's a right or wrong way, but our particular way is that we choose not to use a bunch of chemicals because then you're just getting that into your honey. And, we just choose not to do that.
I get it.
We do try to make our little farm be an ecosystem here. So when we shear our sheep, we actually use their wool from the shearing in our hives in the winter time, and that insulates our hives and, hopefully helps keep them alive through that cold, wet winter. It actually pulls the moisture and helps keep them warm. So, but that's something we, learned in a Facebook group that has worked for us, and we share it when we talk to other people about beekeeping, and they may or may not pick up that tip or not. So yeah, just kind of, being not coming into it with a big head, because you've got to be willing to learn, and you're going to try things that don't work, and you're going to have to try something different next time, and just being willing to pivot.
Got you. I am with you. I'm with the honey and not the bees. I am so like frightened of bees. I got stung when I was little so many times that I'm like, I really want to start beekeeping, but I don't want the bees.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm probably a little bit of a chicken when it comes to like flying bugs. I just don't love. I mean, I could do it. I help, but I would rather like stand back and take pictures and document. Like look at our beautiful bees and love bugs.
Your part.
I'm more from a distance. So
Right. I think I'm just gonna find somebody that enjoys the beekeeping and keep trading them eggs, and then I'll find my happy medium.
yeah, well, and we've put hives on other farms because we've expanded so much. So like some of our neighbors that maybe want the pollination benefits but don't want to deal with the bees, they've let us put hives there. So in exchange, I mean, one of our farmers has this amazing blueberry farm, and he said last year was his best year that he's ever had, and it was probably because we had these pollinators sitting right there next to him. So we gift them some honey as a thank you for letting us have our hives here, and then they get these amazing blueberries.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about. Great partnerships.
Yeah.
Cool. What was one of the moments that you may have went into it thinking, okay, I don't know about this type of animal or this type of, farm thing, but then it ended up being just amazing?
Well, we started with the goats before the sheep, and we always joke and say, like, if we'd had sheep first, we probably would have just stuck with sheep. They're kind of our favorite. The goats, probably wouldn't do goats with horns again if I had to start all over again, but now we're stuck with them. I have one in particular that has horns, and she's very friendly to people, but she's kind of a brat to her sister. So.
I have the same goat. I think I have her sister.
Well, her name is Vidalia. I should probably tell you, we name all of our animals after country music songs or singers or song lyrics. So there's a great old 90s Sammy Kershaw song called Vidalia, and the line goes, "Why you always got to make me cry?" That's Vidalia. So it works out. But yeah, I think the sheep, like, we probably would have started with them if I had known better. Everybody's like, get goats, they're cute. And you're like, they're not so cute when they're misbehaving. But probably, I would say the thing we had the most apprehension about was probably getting a cow. Cows are my favorite animals. I've always wanted one. I was offered a really good deal from a friend, and I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to get a cow. And there's this fantastic Instagram, I think he's called the Mustached Farmer or Mustache Farmer, something like that.
Yeah.
And I want to say he's in maybe Scotland or something. It's not in English. I know that. Maybe it's German. But it's all these like videos of him just cuddling with this cow, and they're having these really beautiful moments. I'm like, yes, it's going to be me and this cow. It's not. That's not how
the cow wants nothing to do with people.
No, she's friendly, but she thinks that she's the boss.
I understand.
But I think we are going to go ahead and do AI and breed her so that I can have, she was supposed to be my dairy cow. So I just really had this vision of, I'm going to be out there in my little house in the prairie dress. I'm going to be milking this cow, and it's going to be great. So we'll see. I mean, I might end up regretting it, but I'm like, we got to try. She's beautiful, and she's a Belfair, which is kind of a smaller breed of cattle. I mean, she's still the biggest thing on this farm. So make no mistake, you got to give her the respect that she's due with her size. But she hangs out with our sheep and goats right now. And I don't know if she thinks she's one of them or they think they're one of her, but they get along just fine. So
that's good. That's good. I know goats can be a handful, a hoofful, whatever you want to call it. They get into stuff every single day. I had to go outside the gate. The gate is fully closed. The fence is over 6 feet high. I don't know how she got out.
They are escape artists. Also, I will say we've got great Pyrenees that stay with our livestock. They're dual purpose. I mean, they're family dogs. There's some people that are kind of that school of thought of like farm dogs should just be farm dogs, but I don't know how to do that. Everybody's my baby. So, but have you ever heard the Great Pyrenees? Like, we've had that.
Oh, I have one.
Oh,
She
okay.
gets some Pyrenees
I
every
didn't
day.
realize that.
Every day. She literally left yesterday or the day before yesterday morning, came back full of mud and just soaking wet. But I love them because in an hour she'll look clean again.
Yes, that's true. They are like a magic eraser. I probably
Hmm.
shouldn't say that because I have two puppies that I still need to adopt out. They're wonderful dogs. They're amazing. Actually, our mama dog. First of all, I should say this was an oops. We did not mean, these things happen. They say wait
Yeah.
till they're two to get them fixed, and we did, and
And
here
then
we
she
are.
wandered off and got
Well,
it.
we have we have mom and dad, so the
Okay.
daddy has been fixed since this
Okay.
happened. He's a deadbeat dad. He wants nothing to do with his babies.
Sorry, buddy.
He's not trying. He's like, I didn't ask for this. But our mama dog was nursing her puppies, and we had her, well, partly in the house and then partly in the barn as they got a little bit older. But we had a rejected lamb that the mom she was the first time. She didn't know what she was doing. She was really kind of kicking him around and not being very safe with him. So we went ahead and pulled him. I thought, well, we'll make him a bottle baby. We've done that before. It's not ideal, but, it's okay.
Mhm. Yeah.
He would not take a bottle. We tried every kind of bottle. He just could not get it down. So I had seen other stories where dogs had, nursed animals besides their own. So we
Hmm.
said, well, let's try this. And we just kind of stuck him in with the puppies. And she nursed that lamb and got him used to nursing. And then he would take a bottle after that. But he's still nursed with her and the puppies for a long time. So we're currently trying to teach him how to be a sheep because he thinks he's a dog. So
Understand.
in the mornings, like, our dogs sleep in the barn with the animals, but in the morning we let everybody out. So here comes the mom and dad dog, and then here comes the sheep who thinks he's a dog, and he's running with them. They're barking at the hawks or the vultures or whatever big birds flying, and he's like right there behind them, like, I'm trying to keep up, and he just doesn't know. So we've been like putting him in with the sheep and saying, here, buddy, look, these are your friends, go be a
These are your
sheep.
people.
We're trying. I think he'll get it eventually. He is at least finally eating grass. For a while, he was like, I only drink bottles and I only eat grain and get
Wow.
that day out of my face. So,
That is funny. Yo, I've heard of a wolf in sheep's clothing, but that's ridiculous.
yeah.
Sheep in Great Pyrenees clothing.
Yep. Our local newspaper put an article on the front page of the paper about them. It was such just a sweet story. We probably would have lost him, honestly, if she hadn't allowed him to nurse. And of course, the puppies now have this great experience of growing up alongside a lamb, which is, just a wonderful exposure for a future farm dog. So,
Yeah, it really is. I mean, that's incredible, and I know the sheep is all well for the better for it. So that's amazing, man.
yeah.
That's really amazing. I've really loved Great Pyrenees. Like this is my first time owning one. I think we're about to hit a year mark next month with her. She's been incredible. She's great with the animals. She will chase a duck every once in a while. I can't blame her,
Yeah.
but she's pretty cool. Besides the disappearing acts, she's great. She's great. She's a little skittish with people, but she likes people.
Oh, ours are almost too friendly.
Mm.
They're great guard dogs. Like we have a fenced perimeter and a big gated entrance, and nobody's coming in without, one of us allowing them to come in. But
Hmm.
once you're in, she is like on you, on your lap, trying to climb all over you. The male is similar, but the female is extremely friendly. So, like, we just had yoga here a couple of weeks ago, and I
Uh-huh.
typically don't bring her out during events because she takes over. She like needs all of the attention. So, the ladies are doing yoga with the goats and the sheep, and the ducks are waddling around and everything. And so yoga was over, and we went to go into the next part of our event. And I said, would anybody like to meet Allie? Oh my gosh, yes. So I bring her out, and she just like made her way around the farm saying hello to everybody. She just loves people.
I love that. That is incredible. Great animals you have there. Any animals? I'm sure the answer is going to be goats, but any animals that you like, I have to put up when it's too many people here.
Uh, a couple of the goats, not all of them, just Vidalia.
There we go.
She's a
Yeah.
naughty one. And not that she would be mean or anything, but she demands attention too. So if we get
Yeah.
snacks out at all,
Oh yeah, I understand.
she's got her hooves up on you, and she's right there like knocking other goats out of the way. She's got to be front and center. So we have a couple that we separate depending on who's here. I mean, when it's just us, I will say I love to just go sit on the ground, and
Mhm.
that really brings the animals to you. They, I don't like forcing them into like a petting zoo type situation. So
Mhm.
anytime we have people here, we typically do a very just an open pasture, and we will have,
Gotcha.
just come sit on a blanket, let the animals come to you, and they do. They're really friendly and love to come over and be petted or brushed or have a, an animal cracker, whatever.
Any dream animal you want out there besides the cow? I know that was your favorite.
She was my dream. I mean, a horse, but I don't know. I don't think we have the land for a horse. Maybe that might be like a future. I would love to have enough space and time to rescue animals. I mean,
Mhm.
we've accepted some rescues. Not that we are a rescue, but we've accepted some that just needed a good home for whatever reason. I would love to be in a position where I don't have to say no to anybody.
Yeah.
We've turned down a couple of pigs. Not sure pigs are my journey. I've babysat for some farmer friends with pigs, and they make me a little bit nervous. I would love like some minis, like a mini donkey and a mini
Yeah.
Highland, and some of the smaller animals. But I mean, I recognize that even though we're not quite where we want to be, meeting all of our goals yet, like we have come so far from
Yeah.
that, our little COVID chicken experience to where we are now, and getting to actually, make a little money from the farm. And at the same time, we're sharing the farm with people, which was really our whole goal, was to be able to do something here that allowed us to share it with guests and just kind of show people that there is you don't have to move to the country. You can
Mhm.
just come
To
out
get
for
there.
a day and experience how different life really can be. And honestly, the work, we work
Mhm.
so hard. I mean, you know what it's like. Like you're working a full-time job, and basically from the minute you open your eyes to the minute you
Mhm.
close your eyes, you're working, whether it's for a job, a paycheck, an animal, your family. Um, and so we really had this lifestyle shift that happened when we kind of finally pulled the plug on living in the city.
Mhm.
Okay, we're going to do it. We're going full time at the farm. That also meant adding more animals. We went from sitting in a car commuting to work to sitting in an office to sitting in the car going home to sitting on the
Mhm.
couch watching TV at night. And that's your life is just going by. So now, I mean, I have to sit for my day job, but the minute work is over, I'm up running around and taking care of animals. And I never expected, like, I was like a high heels and hair and nails kind of girl before
Right.
all of this. I never expected to be so consistently dirty in my whole life. Um, I mean, you posted the other day about where you found hay. Like, we won't talk about where I found hay. It's as easy as it ought not be.
Right.
But you don't even care. You like earn every single shower. At the end of the
Mhm.
day, you're like, I am so filthy. This is the best shower of my life. You lay down and you're actually tired because you've used the
Yes.
body in ways that you wouldn't have used it otherwise. There's just nothing like being able to point at something and say, I did that, I
I
fixed
did
that, I
it.
changed that,
Mhm.
I took care of that. And we've had some losses here. Like you can't have
Mhm.
150 animals without having some sadness that comes along with that.
Right.
You learn every time, and you're better able to take care of your animals when something else pops up, or like I said, a friend calls and says something's wrong with my animal. I've run down. They call me like Dr. Mama. I like to pack my bag with my medicines and run down the street to a friend's farm and help identify what's wrong with them, because I mean you can't always get a vet at a last
Right.
minute, or depending on where you are, there may not be livestock vets. So being able to be knowledgeable enough to jump in and help. And I will say one thing, that if I could recommend one thing to anybody that's got goats or sheep, find a parasitology clinic or class. That is the best class that I think I've ever taken. They will teach you how to run your own fecal samples and identify, what you're dealing with. Ruminants are going to get parasites. That's just part of the life cycle.
Mhm.
And usually it's okay because you've got this healthy balance of this ecosystem. But if you've got an animal that's a little bit weaker, after having a lamb or a sheep, or a lamb or a kid, you may have a weaker immune system. So being able to identify, like checking their FAMACHA, um, knowing what you're looking at under a microscope, being able to have the right medicines in the cabinet so that you can deal with whatever that is. And like I said, I've shared that knowledge with other people too when they've needed that help. And then the other best class I've ever taken was hoof trimming. So I was just so intimidated by it. I was afraid I was going to hurt them. And, you're thinking like, oh my gosh, I don't want to cut that much off. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. So I took a hands-on class. You were literally like in a barn wrangling this whole big flock of sheep and learned how to do it properly, and then come home and I can take care of my animals better.
I love that. That's so many great pieces of advice you just gave us. I feel like we can make a whole mini series off of that one spill. Thank you so much.
Well, that's all knowledge that we've learned the hard way, like.
Yeah, I understand.
It's not an easy journey. Anytime somebody says, what's the very first thing you should do? If you have any amount of land at all, buy a tractor. Get a tractor, you need a bucket, and you need something to, pull things with.
That's it.
You're going to need it. Then the second piece of advice is take every class that you can. And depending on where you are, like I know our extension office offers a lot of things, or there's surrounding counties have extension offices, and many of them are free or really low cost. But if you're going to have animals relying on you, and we take that really seriously, that every soul that we bring on to the farm or that is born here, that's my responsibility to take care of it the best I can. So having those, that foundation of knowledge and some good mentors and some good Facebook groups and, just being willing to learn, that's the way that you're going to move forward and be able to take care of your animals. And then I get to share these healthy animals with guests when they come to see us. And, hopefully we've inspired somebody else's journey to get started with this, because the shift from city life to farm life is the absolute best thing that we could have done for our family.
Right. You mentioned about the work, like you work hard, you earn every shower, you feel a little tired when you go to sleep. But it's actually like a stress-free tired to me. That's what I feel like. I feel like it's the work isn't really work. It can be a handful, but it doesn't feel like stress work. Is that the same for you?
I agree. I mean, I've been known to say I would rather shovel poop than sit in a meeting, or probably shouldn't say that.
I'd rather shovel it than listen to people talk it.
Right. Yeah, I'd rather be a doer, and I would rather, if I'm not working for myself, for my animals, I'd rather be, collaborating with other small businesses, working on, what's the next cool event that we're going to do here on our farm. Volunteering with the farmers market and planning. We do like a farmers feast every year, which is really cool. It's nice. All locally grown foods, and we bring everybody together with like a really nice themed dinner every year, and kind of jumping in and working on things like that. So I'm always working. I hope to get to a point where the farm is self-sustainable. We've got more improvements we want to do here. Like I said, this farm was in rough shape when we bought it. So we've put in a lot of pastures. So we're expanding, doing more fencing this year. I want to maybe build some more barns and different things down the road so that we can just continue to improve
cool.
Our looks and how they want to improve the life of our animals, basically, every way we can.
You guys do a great job of that. You're really farm mamas. Tell me about when you moved in that property. I know you said it was passed down for generations. Did you find anything there that was like, oh wow, I could probably take this to one of those American A&E shows or something like this, like American Finds or something?
So the farmhouse was built, I guess, right around the turn of the century. The first record of it is around 1910. Wow. So it's pretty old. We have found things like, I guess, now we have like trash service that picks up every week, but I guess back in the day, you just kind of had a sinkhole that you dumped things into. So okay. We have found some things, some old, like bent tractor wheels and different, mechanic pieces that probably were from a tractor. And the family that was here before, they're very sweet folks. And actually some of our neighbors are right down the street are all related to the original farm family here. Okay. But they always said, let us know if you ever find any bottles, because I guess one of the old folks would take a little drink out into the woods every now and then. So we have found some small bottles. I haven't found like a, something with a cork still in it. That's the dream, is we find like an original, full bottle of some nice whiskey or something out in the field. We found some like old fox traps and different things using metal detectors. And we've got some Revolutionary War history that kind of came through this area. So I'm like, maybe one of these days we'll find like a musket ball or something really cool.
Hopefully, I'm gonna put this on you guys. I hope you find something that'll trade in and pay for everything, all your dreams.
That would be amazing.
That's great. What piece of advice would you give someone? I know you've given a lot, but what if you had to pick like one thing? What's one piece of advice you would give to somebody moving into a farm for the first time?
Oh my gosh, that's a good question. For us, we wanted to preserve a farm, so we set out looking for something that needed saving, basically. And through that journey, there were several professionals that told us, tear that house down, it's not worth it, or that land's too hilly, or it's not going to work for you. But what you're seeing in these rural communities is, we have a small farm. It's 11 acres. It's not huge. This farm used to be much, much bigger, but it's been subdivided over the years. So I have a real passion about finding ways to use small farms like ours to share agriculture and a different way of life with people, but also preserving that sort of like small, that American family farm. That was the dream. So I guess if you're looking for a farm, for me, I'm sure there's probably much more financially sound ways to go about this, like probably do soil tests and all the things that make sense, right? But for me, it was about, I want to find a piece of land and a house that needs to be loved again, that raised generations of families, that, has this sort of just a history behind it. That was really important to us, was saving something. So if anybody has the chance to save an old historic farm somewhere, there's all kinds of financing products out there that you can do. There's USDA loans. There's all kinds of things available. Is it the easy path? No, probably not. This house will probably never be worth what I have put into it. But
it's priceless for you. It's priceless for you guys, and all the work and time and effort. And then you get to look at it and say, well, I put those shutters in, I painted that wall, like that will, man, that's more than any dollar amount could amount to.
I agree. And hopefully this house will stand for another 100 years because of the work that we've put into it. And, the pastures have been improved, and there's fences where there weren't fences before. And, so we'd like to think we're leaving it better than we found it.
Absolutely. I agree. I haven't even seen it in person, but the pictures look amazing.
Well, you need to come on up to Kentucky, and, we'll show you around. There's all kinds of great things here, and, we'll go on the bourbon trail or something.
There we go. Can't wait. Tell me about, do you guys have a local like go-to feed store?
We do. We have a small, it's called Heilman Lumber and Hardware. It's family owned. It's right here in town. It's about 10 minutes away. They carry Kalmbach products, which is what we typically feed our chickens and our sheep and everybody. They're just fantastic. You can pull up and buy plants and straw and hay and feed, and also pick up your hardware that you need for whatever project you're working on. And then of course, when we need some other things, we have to drive out of town and go to Tractor Supply or Rural King. We always joke that Rural King is date night for us. That's like, it's about a 45-minute drive, and
Gotcha.
we've also got they got like a Chick-fil-A next door. So,
Make the most of it. That's incredible. That is incredible, man. Thank you so much for taking the time out to talk to us today. This has been an extremely great conversation. You've given a whole lot of gems. So on behalf of anybody listening, we appreciate it.
Oh, well, thank you for having me. This is so much fun. I was a little bit nervous, but I probably shared too many things. We'll see.
No, this is a safe space. This is a safe space, Jen. Everybody, make sure that you follow Black Sheep Farms. Incredible place. If you're in the Kentucky area, go visit them. Plan an event. And she does a lot of different events. So, like you said, you got a consignment bus pulling up to your place, and you're part of farmers markets and more. So we just appreciate everything you're putting out and the positivity that you beam.
No, thank you. We appreciate it. Yeah, Black Sheep Farmstead on all the social medias. Maybe one day I'll be good at TikTok. I'm not yet, but we'll get there.
Just post the videos you put on Facebook. That's it's the same thing. It'll be okay. They'll catch.
Well, thank you for the opportunity. This was really fun.
Absolutely. This has been another episode of Excellent Adventures. I hope you guys are paying attention because she taught us a lot. That is our episode. We are gone till next time.
Bye, guys.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Excellent Adventures powered by BlackYard Chickenz.